Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning back in. Glad you can make it. Those of you new, welcome. Thanks for tuning in today. Guys, we're going to be talking about the reality of men in the military. And I kind of touched on this a little bit when I was talking about the military in my prior videos. Talking about the military generally, but now I'm going to get a little bit deeper into what you should expect as a man going in and as a woman going in too. Should both of you keep your eyes open and actually be observant and look around you and keep your situational awareness up like you should anyways. But the military is not what it used to be. Times have changed. It has definitely become more political, more woke, that's for sure. Through all of the DEI stuff, the affirmative action stuff, it's changed drastically. Not that change is bad, but I'll get into that here in a little bit and I'll explain why it's bad. You would expect the military to hold specific standards and a higher standard as compared to the rest of the civilian population. And in a lot of ways, that is true. It's very true. However, the military falls short on quite a few things, and men being the biggest one, which is ironic because men overwhelmingly represent the majority of service members. So I find it very interesting that men oftentimes get the short end of the stick. This is very evident, and it's evident when you get into basic and you realize that women don't have the same standards as men. That's number one. Their physical fitness standards are less demanding. Their grooming standards, their physical appearance, their dress and appearance standards are less demanding than they are for the men. They don't have to put fades in. They don't have to shave. They don't have to do any of these things. Obviously, because they're not men, they don't grow facial hair. But their hair, they don't have to trim that. They don't have to cut that. They don't have to do anything to it. They used to have to put it in a bun, and now that's changed. They can have a ponytail. They can do this, that, and the third with it, which for those who are just as my security forces members, if they happen to get into a specific situation, say they're on the fence line and you happen to get into a combat situation, you're going to be an easy target because at that point, anything in hand-to-hand combat, if you can grab and control someone with, you're at a huge disadvantage already. And women with longer hair or women who have let their hair grow out and don't follow the same standards as men do with them trimming and cutting their hair to keep their hair short, they're the ones that are going to go first, because then someone's going to grab your hair and do whatever. It's a bad situation to be in. So already there are different standards for women, and you see that going in. Now for the stories. I've seen a lot of women get ahead. I've seen that. When I was stationed in Germany, there was a guy that I knew fairly well, and he was trying to get an office position, try to advance in his career. And he put in his application 2 or 3 different times. Meanwhile, this application would be sent to the chief. The way that it works in the Air Force is that your leadership is going to have a chief. It's going to have a chief, and then it's going to have a commander. Typically about a major, lieutenant colonel, but you're going to have an E9, and then you're going to have a whatever. I don't care to remember the grades anymore. But I do know they enlisted, obviously, because I was enlisted. So, you're gonna have a chief, you're gonna have a major, lieutenant colonel, colonel, whatever, a commander, and the application goes to the chief, and the chief makes the decision on who to hire. So the office jobs were already taken up by mostly women. Most of the card services, most of the call centers, and most of the training, all that stuff was taken up by women. Is mainly women. I only saw maybe 1-2 guys back there that I was actually working there. And so when he went to put in this application, it went to the chief, and the chief, being a woman, just so happened to have lost his application twice, to 2 or 3 different times. But I remember him telling me it was like twice. And he didn't get the job. You know who did get the job? There was another female that was putting in an application around the same time. She's the one who got the job. Isn't that interesting? It's very, very interesting. So you can make your conclusions there. You can agree with me. You can disagree with me. I don't care. But I'm telling you this story, okay? Because this is facts. Something that you will also see very common, very, very common, is women falsely accusing men to get out of deployments, to get out of base locations. This happens all the time. I saw this happen to someone that I knew that I was on flight with. And she admitted to it when she got to a new base. But nothing was done. Nothing was done. This guy's life was ruined. They investigated him for 6 to 12 months. And they kicked him out. And when she admitted to it, nothing was done about it. There was no repercussions. There was no discipline. Nothing. That's why I tell you guys, be careful for who you mess around with. Because if they have an epiphany the next morning, your life can be fucked. So be very careful on not just who you mess around with, but who you even let around. Okay? Take these words at your own risk. And to this point, I've heard, I even had a staff sergeant that was talking about this very same thing. He was on a deployment, and there was this guy who actively had an accusation against him from a woman who wanted to get out of the deployment. And she did. Sent her right back to her home station. This shit happens all the time. And it happens way more often than what you would even think. There was even a girl that was caught on CCTV snorting a line of coke. Snorting a line of coke at a bar. And she wasn't kicked out. No. She wasn't kicked out. She did lose a stripe. I believe she was a senior airman, and then she went down to an A1C. 6 months later, she got her stripe back. I personally saw that happen. I think that's just incredible. It's very interesting to me. And then you also have the huge thing going on with the Ranger School, right, for my Army guys, my Army cats. You have all these standards that are being literally lowered, and this is covered by many people who have either served or are still serving now, who have talked about this. So I highly advise you go and check them out. One of them is Green Beret Chronicles. Go check him out. He has all the details because he knows some guys that are Ranger instructors. He has all the details. So I would highly advise you go and check that out. But these standards are being dumbed down to make women pass. That is the very definition of DEI. It's the very definition. It's at the core of what that is. And so this is the reality of men in the military. You are not taken as seriously as women are. Not taken as serious. It's actually kind of funny. You're not taken as seriously, but women aren't really taken seriously either. When I say that, I mean that women have women's groups in the military. In my own personal experience, my ex-wife, she was in a women's group. And it was particular to our career field, but it was a women's group. And so as I was coming across the red pill space and coming across all this information, I began to complain because I was still in, my blue pill mindset, whatever you want to call it. And I was complaining. I was saying, this is complete bullshit. Like, why is it that men don't have the same afforded to them that women do? And my ex-wife was saying, well, why don't you go ahead and start up your own men's group? I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. I went to I was asking around. I was like, hey, look, I would like to start a men's group. Who all is interested? I had a few guys. I said, okay, cool. Went up to my leadership, went up to my first sergeant, and told my first sergeant, I said, hey, I would really like to start a men's group for security forces. And he said, well, that's a great idea, but there's a problem. Fuck. What's the problem? The problem is that you starting a men's group that's solely dedicated to men would be sexist because you're not allowing women. That's the whole point. It's to not allow women. It's the whole fucking point of a men's group. It's literally in the fucking name. So why are we allowing women to constantly invade men's spaces? It doesn't make sense. Boy Scouts are gone. It's now Scouts of America or some bullshit. The Girl Scouts already have their own program, and now they're going into whatever. I'm ranting on here. I couldn't start the men's group. Bottom line, because I was told that was sexist. The only thing that you have as a man in the military are your buddies, is your group. You may not be able to start a men's group in the military, but you can definitely start one out of it. So you can definitely grab some boys. Doesn't matter, career field, whatever. You can definitely grab some boys and go somewhere off base. Maybe go back and forth in between, your guys' houses or whatnot, and have these men's conversations. Good group of men around you that you respect is super important, especially when you're in the military. Guys, look, you see a bunch of really messed up stuff in the military. I'm one of them, of course. You see a lot of messed up things. So it's all the more important that you have that group there. And I know how much that means, because I've had buddies who have seen some really really nasty things, who have been through some really nasty things. And if we were not there for him, he would have done something. He may have done something really crazy. PTSD is a real thing, man. It really is, and listen, a lot of us struggle with it. And I wasn't one of the lucky ones that was able to escape it. So, uh, so keep a good group of men around you that you respect. Don't let go of them, all right? Don't let go of them. Don't get to a new base or a new camp or um, whatever. Okay? Don't go to a new location and just forget about your boys. All right? Don't do that. They still need you. You still need them. Okay? So if you can game, if you can talk for a little bit over the phone, FaceTime, whatever, keep in touch. That being said, guys, this is absolutely the reality of men and women in the military. When you dumb down the standards for women just to lift them up, and when you destroy men's opportunity to progress, it's a combination that's going to lead to absolute disaster. People die. People can die from this. If you're not meeting a standard that's set, you're going to get yourself killed and you're going to get others killed. This goes for both men and women. That's why I tell you that physicality is so important. Train every single day, whether body or mind. Yes, you need rest days. You need to give your body time to reset. Understandable. But that's also time to work your mind too. Got to recharge. I made a video about recharging, so you guys go watch it. You got to recharge. But you also have to train your body. And if we're changing standards to not, if we're changing standards to just push people through, women, and if we're destroying opportunities for men to be in these positions that they need to be in, if we're tossing out merit and we're just implementing this woke bullshit, that's going to get people killed. Absolutely. So this is the reality. Make sure to expect it for my guys that are going in, and ladies and girl. Make sure you expect this going in because you will see this. So just keep that in mind. That being said, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section. I want to know what your guys' experiences are and what you're thinking. So make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves, both mind and body. Take care of each other too. If someone's having a rough time in the comment section, lift them up. Give them the right information. Send them off in the right direction, all right? If this helped you out at all, guys, please like, share, subscribe, support the channel. This channel is growing, and I would love to see this thing really blow up. And I want you guys to be right there with me when it does. So that, as always, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys soon.